I recently made a video doing a full tour of the Say Carbon Yacht 42, and now we have a very exciting opportunity to experience it out at sea. So if you remember from that, this is a super lightweight full carbon hull. It weighs just 4.5 tons. It is powered by a pair of 430 horsepower V8 petrol engines on stern drives. And the cost is around about €1 million, including VAT. I think it starts from about 795,000 ex-taxes. Probably by the time you spec'd it up and paid the taxes, it's going to be around about €1 million. So the two engines are under there. They're under a special lift-up panel that folds up. Have a look at the tour of the open boat and you will see that, but they sit very low in the hull right at the back, and then a couple of storage lockers. We've got this lovely seating area here, again all carbon fibre, even the table itself. Beautiful teak decks all the way around, and if you remember, it's got a very narrow hull under the water. It uses a peat step hull which has special compression spray rails. And then moving forward, we've got the carbon fibre T-top overhead. You can see that this is all carbon fibre, so again, very nice and light. The other boat we looked at had a much smaller radar arch, but this is one of the options you can have. And then the helm station further forward, there's a couple of kind of outrigger seats, if you like, set into the underneath the shade here, and then the two full suspension carbon fibre shockwave seats. So you can see that those compressed down. There is effectively a shock absorber underneath that, and that helps absorb any bumps that get through that very fine riding peat step hull. And we've got conventional Volvo controls. We've got the twin throttles as well as a joystick at the stern drive, so you can move it about very finely using that when you're coming into berth. It takes care of the steering and the engines, the actual steering of the engines, putting them in and out of gear exactly as you need to put them on the spot. It's a lovely low screen all the way around, and an almost dragster style steering wheel that thrusts out of the dashboard almost right into your chest. Seats obviously adjustable, they come backwards and forwards. We've got a small sink under there, fridge under there, and then storage all along the sides for bits and pieces. And then these steps here, they actually fold up and they create the entranceway into the cabin, so they're both the door and the steps that fold down. And if we drop down into the cabin, just have a little bit of a look whilst we're still inside the harbour, you can see there is quite a decent bed space in here. It's all open plan. There is a fridge under the bed, but it's really lovely to see underway. You can get a great view out through these hull windows. So this is, you can see where the sort of underwater hull section is. This is the bit that comes down and rides on the surface, and then there's a big flare out above the water level with these big windows in. You get a fantastic view as we're just cruising gently along through the harbour. Now, one of the disadvantages sometimes of carbon fibre is because it's so light and stiff, it can be very noisy, but because they've used a sandwich construction with foam in between the layers of carbon fibre, it actually helps deaden a lot of that sound. So if I just shut up and stop talking for a while, you probably can hear a certain amount of water just passing the hull, but it's nothing like as noisy as it normally would be with a solid carbon fibre hull without that foam insulation. Now there is a day heads here, quite a good size, plenty of standing room here, got nice skylights overhead and a shower behind the door. And then a big storage area under there, which you can apparently just about get a mattress in if you need overnighting for a kid or two. That is possible. But let's get back out on deck where the real action happens. And here we are, back at the helm seat. So we're just about clearing the harbour now. See, we have got a bow thruster too, so in addition to that joystick, we've got the bow thruster. Great view out over that foredeck, and great view aft. See the water streaming out behind us in the setting sun. Now, we said that this was a surprisingly fuel-efficient boat, and I think you can probably get a bit of an idea here. We're doing just about 18 knots, you can see there, and the fuel burn rate is hovering around about somewhere between 45 and 50 litres an hour, which for twin 430 horsepower V8s is pretty remarkable. And in fact, I calculated the range earlier, and it's an 800 litre tank, isn't it? Exactly. So 800 litre fuel tank, you're burning just 50 litres an hour at 20 knots. That should give you an all-up cruising range of over 300 nautical miles from just 800 litres of fuel. Pretty remarkable. So now is the real deal. This is a chance to experience what a Say Carbon yacht is all about. And let me see if I can demonstrate that a little bit. So we're currently just pootling along. We're doing 6 knots at 1,000 RPM, 13 litres an hour, barely even touching the fuel. But let me just demonstrate the acceleration. We'll put it into gear. Oh, wrong one, sorry. Put it into gear. We've synced the engines. And now let's give it the full acceleration. And hang on, everybody. Here we go. Whoa! Listen to the roar of those V8 petrols. Straight away, we're already doing 32 knots, 35 knots, 40 knots, 45 knots. Absolutely ripping along. That is unbelievable how quickly it gets to that speed. Now we're doing 46 knots, absolutely flying. Whoa! I'm gonna ease off because I think I'm giving all the passengers a bit of a hard time. But that's just to give you some idea of the acceleration. It is absolutely brutal. Now we have got a seakeeper on this. We've got it turned off at the moment, but one of the joys is it is fully stabilized, but for the full handling effect, it's better to turn it off. So it's a real Jekyll and Hyde character. You can see flat out, it's an absolute beast. But if you ease it back, we're now doing just over 21 knots, 2,900 RPM, and burning just over 50 litres an hour. So it really is a total Jekyll and Hyde character. You've got amazing fuel efficiency, you've got fearsome acceleration, and you've got that very soft riding peat step hull, which in combination with these suspension seats give you an unbelievably good ride. Just going to drop my shades down and bring it up a little bit and show you a bit about the handling as well, because it's got a very grippy hull. Okay, so let's get a little bit quicker, take it up to maybe 30 knots, and then we're going to turn to starboard. There we go, we're running at 30 knots now. Let the boat settle, and now put it into a turn. Nice lean, grips in the water. That peat step hull giving a really nice, solid, grippy ride. We're not even a full lock. We go even tighter. Just straighten it up to go over our own wake. Cut through it in that direction. Got a couple of waves coming up here. If you keep the hull level, it absolutely just cuts through it. Oh yeah, just a little boat. We'll just give a wide clearance there and run into the sun with the waves a bit. Pick up the speed again. The noise of those V8 engines is absolutely something else. Fantastic. Wow. There we are. Straight away back up to 45 knots. Absolutely awesome. So the other thing I wanted to show you is how the Seakeeper works. Now, a Seakeeper is a gyro stabilizer. It's a heavy weight spinning at tremendous speed inside a vacuum dome, and the Seakeeper is installed under this table. It's not particularly easy to get to because you need to remove the table and open the hatch, but the Seakeeper is installed under there. And now we've got a little bit of a beam sea, and actually it's a relatively stable hull anyway. I thought we'd be rolling a bit more than this, but you can probably see the boat starting to roll a bit. Here we go with the horizon. We've got the Seakeeper switched off, but then if we hit this button here and turn the Seakeeper on, that's that one there, that goes blue, and straight away I can feel the boat stiffen up, and you can probably see we've got these quite big rollers coming in, and yet the boat is barely moving. It's probably moving 5 or 10% of what it was. The sea's always bigger than it looks on the camera, but look at that. If you look at the horizon, it's staying absolutely still. Even though we've got these beam rollers, we're absolutely beam onto it. It's the worst it could possibly be, and it's barely moving. Very clever piece of kit, and it means particularly at anchor, when you've got a little bit of a roll coming into the bay, it completely stabilizes the boat and cures the usual seasickness problem. So, very neat feature. Just ease it back so you can hear me and I don't have to fight with the noise of those engines. But I think that gives you a really good idea of what the Say Carbon yacht is all about. You've got that really slender, thin, narrow hull that gives you phenomenal performance. You've got the lightweight build that gives you the acceleration. You've got the peat step system that gives you a nice soft ride and good efficiency. And then you've got that absolutely heart-pumping top speed. I think on flat water, I'm told it gets very close to 50 knots. It's well into the 49.6. And now we've got the stabilizer system, and suddenly you can take it back down, have a very civilized conversation running along at 20 knots, burning 45, 50 litres an hour in absolute comfort. So I hope you've enjoyed getting a little bit of a flavour of what it's all about. I apologise to my passengers and my very kind cameraman, but I just wanted to show you what a phenomenal experience it is to drive a yacht like this.